Part 55. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 541. Chapter 541 Chapter 541 Previous Life. Fujinexiu spent a day to deal with all the things that needed to be dealt with. On the way back to his home in Guanyang, Yi Changji's eyes were swollen from crying while driving. "Boss, what did you ask us to do when you were a child? What did you ask us to do, manage? Knowing that she will be sad, don't mention me in front of her in the future. Boss. Stop." Yi Changji stepped on the emergency brake and stopped the car. He turned around and the passenger door was already open. He could only see Fujinexiu's back, so he quickly followed. "Mr. Fu, you are here," the store manager greeted Fujinexiu politely. "Bring me the clothes I have stored away and I will take them away. Do you want to take your suit with you too, or do you want to wear it here? Take them together. Then just wait a moment and I'll get it right away." The store manager quickly ran to get the clothes. Yi Changji followed up and asked confused, "Boss, what are you doing in this bridal shop? Get the clothes and prepare the wedding dress for me." Yi Changji understood Fujinexiu's intention, so he waited quietly beside him. Fujinexiu returned to Guanyang's home. It was already dark, and there was still an hour before 8 o'clock in the evening. In Nangsuan, Zhao Huiyan, Guanyang, Yi Changji, and Linan were all here. Everyone felt heavy, but know how to leave time for the two of them. Fujinexiu first put on his suit, and then helped Zhang Xiaoxi put on his wedding dress. He gently said in Zhang Xiaoxi's ear, "Xiaoxia, do you like the wedding dress? I know you like it. I have been drawing and modifying this wedding dress for a long time, just to see you put it on. Now that you put it on, it looks really beautiful." As Fujinexiu spoke, he looked at the time on the wall. It was still a few seconds before 8 o'clock. He just turned his head and heard a familiar voice, "Uncle Wu." Fujinexiu's deep cold eyes also showed a moment of trance, his thin lips straightened, and he turned back somewhat stiffly. The girl's eyes looked at Fujinexiu blankly and with a little fear. The ecstasy in Fujinexiu's eyes subsided, and his big hand stroked Zhang Xiaoxi's cheek stiffly. Zhang Xi shrank back in fear. Her memory still lingered on when Fujinexiu was violent to her. She was pitiful and tears were still rolling in her eyes. She said in a small voice, "Uncle Wu, I was wrong. I won't make any more mistakes. No, please stop hurting me. I feel. You are not at fault, it is Uncle Wu's fault. Don't be afraid when you are young." Fujinexiu rubbed her little head distressedly. Even though Fujinexiu said this, Zhang Xiaoxiao still had fear in his eyes. "Uncle Wu, Yannian and I have nothing to do with each other. I just don't want you to control me so strictly." The fifth uncle knew, so the fifth uncle apologized. Zhang Xiaoxiao looked at Fujinexiu in astonishment. She didn't expect that Fujinexiu would be so easy to talk to. She couldn't believe that the Fujinexiu in front of her was her fifth uncle. His uncle's eyes were so gentle, as if he wanted to melt her. "Fifth uncle, uncle, where are we now?" "Your Uncle Guan's house. You are injured, so I asked Guanyang to take a look at you," Fujinexiu explained. "Then let's go home." Zhang Xiaoxiao saw that Fujinexiu was so easy to talk to, so he must not miss this opportunity to admit his mistakes and flatter him, and he must behave well, so it is wisest to go home now. Zhang Xiao was anxious to get out of bed, and as soon as he moved, he noticed the wedding dress he was wearing. He was surprised at first, and then happy, because the wedding dress was so beautiful. End of this chapter. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 542. Chapter 542 Chapter 542 Previous Life. The wedding dress is made in the style of a cheongsam. There are no layers of tulle, and some are just designed to fit the body curve. The plain white cheongsam has her favorite baby's breath on it, all embroidered stitch by stitch. Fifth uncle, this is a gift for you, do you like it? I like it, but Uncle Wu, this dress is a wedding dress, right? Well, when I was young, are you willing to marry Uncle Wu? Fu Chenxiao knelt down on one knee and took out an emerald ring in his hand. Zhang Xiaoxiao recognized this ring. It was Grandma Fu's wedding ring, passed down from generation to generation. She originally thought that what came down was in the hands of Fu Ling's mother, but she didn't expect that it was in the hands of Fu Chenxiao. Zhang Xiaoxiao looked at the ring at a loss, and then at Fu Chenxiao, feeling unusually panicked. Fifth uncle, I. With a slight smile on his face, Fu Chenxiao gently put the ring in Zhang Shishi's hand. Xiao Shi, Uncle Wu will give you time to think about it and accept the ring first. Zhang Xiaoxiao lowered his eyes and looked at the ring in his palm. He curled up his little hand and took the ring away. Uncle Wu, did you encounter something happy and you are in such a good mood? When Zhang Xiao looked at Fu Chenxiao, there was always a smile on his lips, and his whole person was very gentle. He was completely different from the usual Fu Chenxiao. Although this kind of fifth uncle was very good, it still made her feel a little fuzzy. Fu Chenxiao wrapped his big palm around her little hand. Well, the fifth uncle is very happy. Zhang Xiaoxiao couldn't guess Fu Chenxiao's heart. When he said he was happy, he meant he was happy. As long as he was happy, she would have a good life. Uncle Wu. Our. Uncle Wu, tell me. Xiao Shi, if Uncle Wu gives you freedom, wouldn't you be particularly happy? Fu Chenxiao hugged Zhang Shishi and cherished the last time they spent together. Zhang Shi's scalp was so numb that she didn't dare to answer. Although she would be very happy if Fu Chenxiao gave her freedom, she felt more uneasy inside. Moreover, even if Fu Chenxiao gave her freedom, she would feel abandoned. Uncle Wu, I still like you to take care of me, don't worry, I will be good from now on. When I was young, you were always good in the eyes of my fifth uncle. My fifth uncle also reflected on it and found that he was indeed too strict with you. From now on, my fifth uncle will give you freedom. If he encounters anything unhappy, he will find you to comfort him. Uncle, they will help you solve it, Fu Chenxiao warned carefully. Zhang Xiao was even more frightened now. Even panic could not describe her current mood. Uncle Wu, why should I go to Uncle An and the others when something happens? Aren't you here? Are you going to ignore me? Compared with Fu Chenxiao's anger, Zhang Xiaoxiao was more afraid that Fu Chenxiao would ignore her. Not caring about her would be tantamount to abandoning her, so she didn't want that. When I was young, my fifth uncle didn't care about you. If possible, my fifth uncle would like to care about you for the rest of his life. Fu Chenxiao's heart ached. He wanted to protect Zhang Xiao's safety for the rest of his life. Peace in this life is not as important as his life. If he wants to be safe, he must live first. Zhang Xiaoxiao thought that he had not agreed to Fu Chenxiao's proposal, so Fu Chenxiao wanted to leave her alone. He hurriedly handed the ring in his hand to Fu Chenxiao. Fifth uncle, I promise you, I will marry you, please put the ring on me. Fu Chenxiao held her hand and looked at her tenderly. When I was young, listen to my fifth uncle. You can still be willful in the future. The entire Fu family is your backstage. You can continue to be a little princess, you know. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 543. Chapter 543. Chapter 543. Previous life. Fifth uncle, I was really wrong, don't scare me. Zhang Xiaoxiao was frightened to tears by Fu Chenxiao's words. She knew that Fu Chenxiao was not so easy to talk to, so she wanted to leave her alone, otherwise she would lose her home. Fu Chenxiu kissed her smooth forehead. When I'm young, my fifth uncle is leaving. Can you take good care of yourself? Zhang Xiao held Fu Chenxiu's hand nervously and stared at him with tears in his black eyes. Uncle Fifth, where are you going? Are you going to a meeting abroad? You can come back after going to a meeting abroad. Uncle Wu, why did you say such scary things? I thought you were going to. Only at this moment did Zhang Xiaoxiao realize that she relied on Fu Chenxiu more than she thought. Xiao, Uncle Wu is a little sleepy, would you like to take a nap with Uncle Wu? Fu Chenxiu hugged Zhang Xiao and lay on the bed. Zhang Xiao was so nervous that she didn't dare to move. She was afraid that Fu Chenxiu would do something unspeakable to her, so her body remained tense. Xiao, Uncle Wu won't do anything to you, don't be afraid. Fu Chenxiu closed his eyes and rested his head on Zhang Xiaoxi's shoulder. Zhang Xiaoxi's eyes were wide open and he leaned into Fu Chenxiu's arms. Fifth uncle, are you hiding something from me? What you said tonight is too strange. Zhang Xiaoxiao has been trained by Fu Chen for so many years. It can be said that the two of them know each other very well, and they can still feel that something is wrong with the other. I'm young, my fifth uncle is very tired, don't make any noise and have a good sleep, Fu Chenxiu said in a hoarse voice. Fu Chenxiu, who had been leaning against Zhang Shi, suddenly thought of something and asked anxiously, Uncle Wu, I don't faint easily. There must be someone. Well, I have replaced the servants at home. Fu Chenxiu didn't believe that Zhang Xiaoxiao died because of that aspect from the beginning. Later, Guanyang found chronic poison in Zhang Xiaoxiao's blood and found out that it was the Mo family had been lurking in Nangzi courtyard for a long time, preparing to attack Zhang Xiaoxi. That night they were just poisoned. When Zhang Xiaoxiao heard Fu Chenxiu say this, he knew that he had taken care of everyone in the family. Fifth uncle, you must protect me. Yeah, Fu Chenxiu answered Zhang Xiaoxi against his will this time. Zhang Xiaoxiao wanted to sleep peacefully when he heard his answer, Uncle Wu, good night. Good night. When Zhang Shishi fell asleep completely, Fu Chenxiu got up from the bed, kissed Zhang Shishi's lips, and a teardrop fell on Zhang Shishi's cheek. Xiaoxi, Uncle Wu is gone, you have to live a good life in the future. Fu Chenxiu sat by Zhang Xiaoxi's bed until dawn, and then walked out of the room. And Nangxuan and the others were outside. Fu Chenxiu just walked away and fell to the ground suddenly. Fortunately, Nangxuan caught him. Go back to my room quickly. Guanyang felt that Fu Chenxiu's heartbeat was slowing down rapidly. For a person without any disease, his heartbeat gradually slowed down in front of him, and he was likely to die in the next second. This kind of supernatural the performance was something that none of them wanted to believe, but they had to believe it. And Nangxuan was very fast and carried Fu Chenxiu back to Guanyang's room. Guanyang performed a series of rescue operations, but Fu Chenxiu's heartbeat still returned to zero, and he just disappeared. Uncle Guan, Uncle Wu. Zhang Xiaoxi stood at the door of Guanyang's room with a pale face, followed by Zhao Huiyan and Yi Changji. When I was young, listen to Uncle An, your fifth uncle. End of this chapter. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 544. Chapter 544. Chapter 544. Previous life. Zhang Xiaoxiao's eyes were red, his lips were trembling slightly, and he stared at Nangxuan. Uncle An, what happened to the fifth uncle? Nangxuan frowned. They didn't pay attention to what Zhang Xiaoxiao was doing. Now Fu Chenxiu was still lying there. Even if he wanted to hide it, he had no choice but to tell it honestly, because he was hiding it. He couldn't stop saying, when I was young, just as you saw that your fifth uncle was gone. Zhang Xiao's head was buzzing, and all the strength in his body seemed to have been drained. He collapsed on the ground. Uncle Wu, he was fine yesterday. How could he die suddenly? How could it be possible? Xiao, your fifth uncle has a sudden illness. If you don't believe me, ask your official uncle. And Nangsuan went to help Zhang Xiaoxi up from the ground and threw the question to Guanyang. As expected, Zhang Xiaoxi's eyes turned to Guanyang, and his whole face said that he wanted to know the reason. Guanyang frowned tightly and nodded to Zhang Xiao. Well, the boss had heart failure and died suddenly. Impossible. Zhang Xiao didn't believe it for the first time. Fu Chenxiao's physical fitness was definitely above the standard. Now there was only one possibility, and that was that Guanyang and the others were lying to her. When I was young, Uncle Guan never lied to you, Guanyang said with obvious lack of confidence. Zhang Xiao pushed An Nangsuan away and walked into Fu Chenxiao step by step. Fu Chenxiao had his eyes closed and his face was bloodless. He seemed to be dead because there was no sound of breathing and his chest did not rise and fall. Zhang Xiaoxiao's fingers trembled slightly as he slowly approached Fu Chenxiao. Just when he was about to get close to his face, he suddenly pulled back and cried loudly. People say that the ultimate sadness is silence. And Nangsuan wanted to go up and take Zhang Xiaoxiao away, but he knew he couldn't take him away, but if he allowed Zhang Xiaoxi to continue like this, something would happen. Fifth uncle, there is a reason why you said those words last night. Zhang Xiao was silent for a while before speaking, his cheeks already wet with tears. Uncle Fifth, I won't listen to Uncle An or any of them if you're not here. I will keep getting into trouble. I will go looking for countless Yanian, so Uncle Fifth, please wake up soon, Zhang Xiao said with a hoarse voice. With she. And Nangsuan looked at Zhang Shishi and felt anxious. He looked at Guanyang and the others just to let them think of a solution, but he couldn't let Zhang Shishi do that. Zhang Xiaoxi turned his head sharply and stared at An Nangsuan. Uncle An, you know, right? You are all lying to me, right? Our Uncle Fifth, you knew you were going to die from the beginning, right? Otherwise he wouldn't have said those strange things last night. Tell me the reason. I want to hear the reason. How could Uncle Five die when he was in good health? Tell me. Zhang Xiaoxiao finally said. All the words were shouted out. Xiaoxi, no, we didn't lie to you, and your uncle didn't lie to you. And Nangsuan was still trying to explain, trying to deceive Zhang Shi. Zhang Xiaoxiao stared at them and sneered, Uncle An, I have known you not for 1 day, but for 10 years. Uncle Guan is not good at lying at all. Uncle Guan didn't dare to look at me just now. And Nangsuan. When I'm young, you go back to your room first, and I'll tell you when you get back, Zhao Huiyan said. I won't reply, I want to know now. Zhang Xiao would not leave Fu Chenxiao for half a step. He. End of this chapter. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 545. Chapter 545. Chapter 545. Previous life. Xiao, Uncle Zhao tells you that you have to promise Uncle Zhao not to get excited. Zhao Huiyan looked at Zhang Xiao with a serious expression. Zhang Xiaoxiao's eyes were red, he sniffed and nodded, yeah. Well, Uncle Zhao will tell you. Huiyan. Old Zhao. And Nangsuan and Yi Changji called Zhao Huiyan in unison, their eyes full of anxiety. Zhao Huiyan ignored the looks in their eyes and continued talking to Zhang Xiaoxi. Xiao, your fifth uncle died just to see you. If you continue like this, then your fifth uncle's death will not be worth it. Zhang Xiao was stunned. Fu Chenxiao died because of him. Why? She's not doing well here. Xiao, go back and tidy up so that you can see your fifth uncle off. Zhao Huiyan's voice was low, with an air of sadness in it. Fu Chenxiao's death was felt by everyone here. Zhang Xiao had not dared to touch Fu Chenxiao's hand just now, so he gently and tremblingly touched Fu Chenxiao's already cold fingers. Fifth uncle. Zhang Xiao's gentle call made everyone in the room moisten their eyes. Zhang Xiao, it's time for you to leave. Just when everyone was enveloped in sadness, an old voice sounded in the room, followed by Zhang Ziaxi and Fu Chenxiu who had the same symptoms. Guanyang, hurry up and save the hour, hurry up. Guanyang's face changed drastically, and he came to Zhang Ziaxi's side with a long leg to rescue him. Fu Chenxiu saved Zhang Ziaxi with his life. If Zhang Ziaxi died now, he might not be able to explain how he should explain to Fu Chenxiu. It's ours, wake up quickly. Young man, don't scare Uncle An. And Nangxuan and the others kept calling Zhang Shishi, but Zhang Shishi still lost his breath completely like Fu Chenxiu. Guanyang frantically rescued Zhang Shishi. Unfortunately, no matter how he was rescued, Zhang Xiao lost his breath, that is, he lost his breath. Garbage system, host, did you remember something? Zhang Xiao recovered his thoughts from the scene he saw, looked at the empty air with his red eyes, and said, I remembered. Garbage system, host, go back. Yeah, Zhang Xiao closed her eyes. When she opened them again, what caught her eyes was Fu Chenxiu's decadent cheeks. Seeing Zhang Xiao, she felt heartbroken. Uncle Wu. Fu Chenxiu didn't say anything, he just hugged Zhang Ziaxi tightly, as if he wanted to melt her into his bones. Zhang Xiao also hugged Fu Chenxiu tightly. She remembered everything. Fu Chenxiu did not save her, because using another person's life in exchange for his own life was an act against heaven and would be punished by heaven. Yes, and even if the goddess is powerful, she cannot go against heaven, so the only way to save her is to be reborn, and if she wants to return to her death, she must go to other worlds and return to her death through other media. However, the garbage system was just the dragon scale at that time. The dragon scale was the medium that brought her back here. Now that its mission is completed, it can leave. Fifth uncle, why don't we separate? Okay, Zhang Xiao said in a hoarse voice. Okay, we won't be separated even if we are here. Boss, I caught Jin Run's Yi Changji rushed into the room recklessly and hurriedly told Fu Chenxiu the news. When I saw the scene of the two hugging each other, there was no embarrassment, and the expression was very surprised. You are awake when I am young. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 546. Chapter 546 Chapter 546 Finale, 1. Uncle Yi. Zhang Xiao smiled lightly at Yi Changji. When I was young, you finally woke up. If you hadn't woken up, I guess your fifth uncle would have gone with you. Yi Changji is a brainless person. What's up? Come out. When Zhang Xiao heard what she said, he felt even more sorry for Fu Chenxiu and hugged Fu Chenxiu hard. Child, I caught Jin Runs. Do you want to go and see? Uncle Yi can help you get revenge. Yi Changji spoke of Jin Runs with the kind of hatred that gnashed his teeth. If it hadn't been for him, so many things would have happened. The character Jin Runs didn't appear much, but he didn't expect that he would become the most ruthless one. Zhang Xiao had no hatred for this man. After all, he was also a pitiful person. He was silent for a while and said, Uncle Yi, have you found Zhou Yuling? That woman is very cunning. I haven't found her yet, but I have found some traces of her. I have Jin Runs in my hands. She will appear. It will take some time for you to see her. Uncle Yi, when you catch Zhou Yuling, I'm going to see Jin Runs. Zhang Xiao thought for a while and said. Yi Changji turned to Fu Chenxiu and asked, Boss, are you going to accompany me when I'm young? Fu Chenxiu answered with just 3 words. Boss, if you don't go, Jin Runs will most likely be taken away by Suyuans. Yi Changji thought about the stalemate between Suyuans and his people before he came. As soon as Yi Changji mentioned Suyuans, Zhang Xiao immediately thought of Mo Zhangxiang and asked, Uncle Yi, is my sister awake? I'm awake. I woke up before you, but I'm still weak now. The goddess is still there to guard you. It's miraculous. People who died are still alive. This is the first time I've seen her. Yi Changji doesn't believe in ghosts and gods, but this time Mo Jiangxiang's incident forced him to believe in ghosts and gods. Where is she? Should I go see her? I'll take you there. Fu Chenxiao held Zhang Xiaoxiao in his arms and walked out the door, with Yi Changji following behind him. Fu Chenxiao carried Zhang Xiaoxiao to Mo Jiangxiang's room. The two sisters burst into tears when they met. Upon seeing this, Fu Chenxiao put Zhang Xiaoxiao on the sofa and said softly, "I'll wait for you outside." Zhang Xiao nodded with red eyes. When Fu Chenxiao went out, Zhang Xiaoxiao hugged Mo Jiangxiang and cried together, "Sister, why are you so stupid? You have to save your own life even if you save me." When Mo Jiangxiang heard what she said, he knew that she was just like him. "When I was little, if it were you, you would also save your sister, right?" Mo Jiangxiang is right. If it were her, she would save him because they are connected by blood. "Xiao Xiao, you see we are even, you really saved me this time, we both survived this time, we are lucky." "Well, sister, we really have to thank the goddess. If it weren't for her, the two of us really wouldn't be able to survive." Zhang Xiaoxiao thanked the goddess from the bottom of his heart. "We will thank her properly when we are completely healed." "Sister Xiao Xiao wants to tell you something." Mo Jiangxiang looked at Zhang Xiaoxi seriously. Zhang Xiao was inexplicably nervous when she saw him. "Sister, don't be nervous. I just want to tell you that I'm going back with Su Yuan's. Let Fu Chenxiao take care of the Mo family." "I won't care." Mo Jiangxiang wanted to laugh when he saw her nervous look. End of this chapter. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 547. Chapter 547 ended. "Sister, are you going back with Su Yuan's?" Zhang Xiao looked at Mo Jiangxiang with some reluctance. Mo Jiangxiang touched her head, smiled lightly, and said calmly, "Well, I owe this man a lot, and I want to compensate him well. But sister, I can't let you go. Can't you just stay in Rongcheng? I believe that where you are, Su Yuan's will be there." Zhang Xiaoxiao knew that she was a little selfish when she said this, but she really didn't want to be separated from Mo Jiangxiang. "When I was young, Fu Chenxiao had the Fu family to manage, and the Su family also needed managers. My sister will come back to see you, and you can also come and see your sister." Mo Jiangxiang's words have proved that she really wants to leave. Zhang Xiaoxiao was reluctant to leave, so he just hugged Mo Jiangxiang tightly and said, "Don't forget to come back and see me." A week later, Mo Jiangxiang left with Su Yuan's. Zhang Xiaoxi and Fu Chenxiao had almost recovered. Yi Changji took Zhang Xiaoxi to the secret room of his villa. In the relatively clean secret room, Jin Run sat beside the bed with a hurt face. Seeing their arrival, he raised his eyelids slightly, but did not feel very surprised. Instead, he said surprisingly calmly, "You are finally here." Zhang Shishi frowned slightly and spoke slowly, "Zhou Yuling is not looking for you. Is it worth it for you?" In Zhang Xiaoxi's opinion, the man in front of him has a smart enough mind. If he hadn't fallen in love with Zhou Yuling, that woman, he should be so high-spirited in the mall. There are so many men who should be shining in gold and should not be in this place. The corners of Jin Run's lips curled up slightly, and he looked up at Zhang Xiaoxi. His pupils were filled with the light he had just mentioned about Zhou Yuling. His slightly hoarse voice was not very heavy in the small space. "Is it worth it? In love it doesn't matter whether it's worth it or not. I love her, and I'm willing to do whatever she asks me to do, as long as she's good, because that person is her." After Zhang Xiaoxiao heard his answer, he felt a little regretful in his heart, feeling that this person was so ruined, but as Jin Run said, there is no such thing as whether it is worth it or not in love. If you fall in love with this person, Even if he is the worst person in the world, if you love him, you will not listen to what others are saying, because you only have eyes for him. Maybe others think you are not clear-headed, but how can you come out just by speaking out when you are so deep in it? We have not found her, and we are not going to find her. As long as she does not appear, we will not deal with her. Please pray that she does not appear in Chengdu. As long as she does, we will not spare her life. Thank you. Jin Runs looked at Zhang Xiaoxiu's leaving figure. He knew that he might not see the light of day for the rest of his life, but as long as Zhou Yuling lived, it would be fine. Fifth uncle, am I still soft-hearted? Zhang Xiaoxiao asked, holding the man's arm. Fu Chenexai rubbed her hair with his big palm and said softly, I feel soft-hearted, but your decision represents me. After Zhang Xiaoxiao heard what he said, she hung on Fu Chenexai like a koala. Her fifth uncle was also deeply involved, but so was she. On an unknown island, a female corpse was lying on the beach. Her whole body was white and swollen. The fishermen around her were so frightened that they called the police. After investigation, the police determined that this person was Zhou Yuling. Fu Chenexai and the others also received the news later, but they did not tell that person. Jin Runs was sent away by them, which made him always think that the woman in his heart was still alive, and he also had a thought. End of this chapter.